everybody, and welcome back to the Lawdit Solicitors podcast. My name is Ellis, I'm a solicitor, and today you join us on the Isle of Wight in what can only be described as festival craze season. The Isle of Wight Festival is nearly upon us, and the island turns into essentially one big festival ground, and it's on everyone's lips and in everyone's mind. So we wanted to jump on and have a quick chat about all things music related law, something that we specialise in as part of our roster of expertise, and something that is very topical at the moment for us on the Isle of Wight. So something I wanted to pull Mark Reed in, solicitor. Hello, Mark.
How are you doing, Ellis?
Very well, thank you.
I can't believe you pulled me in when I'm meant to be at the festival.
Well, that's the thing. I caught you just before you were off with your wellies.
I'll be switching off, yeah. I won't be in wellies. No.
Popping your tent up.
It's beautiful out there. The sun is shining. We are getting ourselves ready, and I've got a whole weekend planned of some wonderful listening to some fantastic artists, both well known and those that are starting out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the key portions of the Isle of Wight Festival, is that range of massive artists and those artists that are just starting out. And really that's who we're focusing this podcast on, is those starting out, those that are just getting into the music industry. Go to the festival, see your favourite artist and are inspired to pursue it as a career. What do you need to think about, and those sorts of elements that you need to be aware of?
And I'm just going to jump in again, because something I find every year, I've been quite fortunate over the years that I get sort of dragged into these different sort of parts of the field whereby you're able to sort of engage with different sort of walks of life, different people, and actually some of the artists that have got a different wristband that come in for a drink, and they end up chatting to you, and sometimes they've got their head in their hands because they're going, this is amazing, we're doing great, we're a little bit frustrated with the way our management are handling things, but they've got their head in their hands because they've ended up signing things without really understanding what on earth they were signing.
Yeah, I think it's really easy for artists to get excited and see the sort of the romance side of things. Everything's rose-tinted glasses. It's what you've been working for your entire life, to get the opportunity to sign a record contract or get a management team in place to help you sort of promote your services, and it can be very easy, and some of the world's biggest artists have fallen into this trap when they've started out, to sign something, agree to something that potentially isn't in your best interests, and if it was to be looked at from a legal perspective, potentially wouldn't have been something that you would have been advised to sign.
Okay, so now we need to get into some specifics, Ellis. So within what type of contracts are we talking about? What different contracts are available that our listeners will have to be mindful of?
Well, I think it's important to think about all those parties that you are going to be involved in. So management, you need to make sure you've got a contract in place for your management. Any musicians or members of a band or a group that you're a part of, have that relationship governed by a contract. Record label, make sure you've got an agreement in place in terms of what's been agreed and what is going to happen sort of moving forward. Albums, singles, that sort of thing. Any key relationship that you have within your career needs to be governed by a contract to make sure that all eventualities are covered for.
Okay, yeah, that is absolutely right. Now, of course, with what you're saying there, suggests that all they need to do, our listeners, is just go and get a contract and make sure that they've got all of these things and they've ticked them off. But it's not as simple as that, is there? Because it's actually the contents of the contract itself which you must have reviewed and checked over to ensure that it is a fair a contract for both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. While a lot of these contracts potentially have quite a lot of shared elements in terms of what's being covered, everything can be drafted in a way that benefits one party over the other. So, for example, if your record label comes to you and provides you with a contract, it's very, very likely that that's been drafted in their favour. So you want to make sure that things are put in that are fair and equal.
Yeah. And actually, we need to understand fully, what are we meaning by, a contract? A contract for what? Is it just about money, or is it about something else as well?
Yeah, money is obviously a massive part of it, and that's the sort of thing that people sort of immediately are drawn to, but it's about future-proofing that relationship. So what's the plan in terms of releasing music? What's going to be released then? When? What? are you going to do moving forward? And ultimately, the key element that becomes quite topical is who's going to own it at the end. So much can be sort of gained from royalties of tracks that have been released a long time ago and are used again and again and again. Who owns that? Who's got control of that? And how is that going to look for you then in the future?
And managing expectations as well. So certainly that's one type of contract, but then there are other contracts where all you're doing is regulating your understanding as to who is doing what. So you mentioned about management contracts and stuff like that. So what is your role? What are your expectations? What are the management's expectations? There are so many different factors that it's not just about money. I mean, ownership is a massive one. That certainly is key, and there is case law upon case law about it. That I would say it would bore you, but it really wouldn't. It's quite interesting to read over the decades some quite interesting cases that have developed within a dispute. Now, I'm just going to take a second just to appreciate our trainee solicitor, Sam, who has arrived wearing a pair of jean shorts, a flowery shirt, some sort of trilby hat, it looks like.
Straw boater.
Yeah, and a pair of pumps on his feet. I'm used to seeing him in a three-piece suit, you see. So, welcome, Sam. Thank you for coming in. You look like you're already at the festival.
I am indeed. Thank you for inviting me.
Caught you before you got to the main stage with your flags ready to be seen on the TV.
Now, the reason why Sam is already in festival gear is because Sam's actually been going around and working on, in respect to liaison with artists and stuff like that, not just as part of his training, but Sam's got some experience in this area and going to festivals and actually working on that, so he can try and get his experience heard by those smaller artists, so that they've got someone to go to. And then, of course, if there's further discussions that are needed, he can then organise that and make sure that it then gets brought into the firm, and we can discuss things further. So, welcome, Sam.
Thank you,
Ellis. You had a couple of things you wanted to talk to Sam about, didn't you? In terms of what his experiences are with the type of questions that these, as we say, that we're calling them smaller artists, but they're not. In their own right, they are absolutely incredible, but they haven't been established for as long. So what are the sort of questions, what was it that you had for Sam? It was something to do with when Sam is talking to the artist, what is it that they tend to ask him for advice on?
Yeah, well, a lot of this circumstances is sort of education based, isn't it? Artists know what they know in terms of their music, but potentially don't know the legal side of things. So, Sam, what have you experienced in terms of speaking to artists?
So often it would come in two camps, essentially. You either have one particular type of person who are looking to see whether they need a contract because they don't have anything in place, and the other camp, which is often more of a shame, really, is individuals who have signed a contract and now they're finding things aren't really how they thought they would be, not in their favour, and they're not happy about it, and now they're more wondering whether they can have this contract changed, or how if there's a way to make it void, to get rid of it.
Yeah, I think unfortunately there is a certain proportion of people that potentially are taking advantage a little bit and are trying to see the potential in someone and maybe exploit them. Yeah. So it's really important that if you feel like you're in a situation that potentially isn't beneficial to you, you get in touch with us and have a discussion to see if there's anything that can be done or can be learned from in the future in terms of moving forward with your career.
Yeah, absolutely. So we said that this was going to be a nice and short and sweet one before we came in here, but essentially it was just the headlines. Get the contract in place. Make sure you have it looked over by a professional, okay? And make sure that you don't go in with haste. Don't just sort of think, oh, it's okay, but I trust them. This will working out. Be savvy, be smart, okay? And go and enjoy yourself. And we're going to be there. And if you see us around, and you're an artist that's already at the Isle of Wight Festival, or you're on tour doing certain things, and you see us around with any of our flags, so to speak, then do come and speak to us. But if not, and you're not around, but you do want to pick our brains, our team are always available. So give us a call, 02380 235 979. Please try not to give us a call over the next few days because we may not pick up. Or if you email, and we have got this the time, and we're able to meet up, or we can discuss things with you, email us on info@lawdit.co.uk. If you go onto our website, you'll notice that we have a dedicated page and website called Lawdit Music. Perhaps you could go on there, have a look. It might have the answers that you're looking for.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening. And thank you, Ellis.
Thank you very much. And enjoy the festival for those that are going.
And we'll let you get back, Sam, to the festival. You look like you're raring to go, so take care.